difference is this progressive loss. See how this starts to lose the curve? It's about halfway lost or about a third. Actually, it's slightly reversed right there. So now, one of the reasons that I show these three people specifically is that actually she has no symptoms. Joe even doesn't have anything besides he feels like he's slowing down. Sarah has neck pain. She has headaches. You can see the top bone there, the difference in the pinch between. See how she might get headaches or allergy and sinus problems. But yet sometimes I have people say, well, it's because I'm getting older. And certainly age plays a factor, but this one's 50, perfect health. Joe right here, 72. The reason he came in, he said, is not that he hurt. It's not that he even was on medications or had any medical diagnosis. It was because he was slowing down and he wanted to enjoy his retirement. So he came in, started to get adjusted, him and his wife both, and they're feeling even better than they did, but they technically had no medical diagnosis that was negative. Sarah right here, even though you can see all that in her neck, she's 17. 17 years old, she's got a reverse curve, she's on 4 medications. If you look at the spacing, you can see it get thinner down here. That white haziness, that's actively growing osteoarthritis of the spine. Estimated that's been there for about 15 years. So if you do the math, you can see that it wasn't when she was very old, it was when she was very young. Now, they didn't have a reason or a specific point. She hadn't been in a car accident or fallen out of her crib or something like that. It points at things like learning to walk, learning to crawl, potentially the birth process itself. If you think about when the doctor pulls on the baby to have it come out, of course you have to get the baby out, but the average pressure is 75 pounds on a baby's neck for a normal delivery. C-sections are slightly higher. Vacuum and forceps deliveries have a huge jump in the overall pressure. Now again, it's also not saying that every child is injured, but think about if you have 75 pounds of pressure and something does shift or goes slightly wrong, do you think it's enough to put some pressure in their neck? And think how many kids do deal with croup or colic or ear infections or sinus issues or some of these things. Now, last neck x-ray that I'll show right here, this is a progress x-ray. And this is one of the most unique things that we do here, different than just about any other doctor or chiropractor's office that you'll go to. If you get a progress x-ray in most offices, it's after a year, or you may have never had x-rays at all. We take a new progress x-ray within about 9 weeks or 2 months. So not only should you expect to feel better or notice a difference, but you'll be able to physically see a change. Well, I get asked very often, how long does it take? And the best example I can give you are braces. Braces, if you know somebody that's ever had braces, they take anywhere between 2 and 4 years on average to change the shape of the teeth, the jaw, everything with that. Now, your spine's about twice as quick. It takes somewhere between 12 and 24. Now, that's not what I'll go through with you tonight. We don't go through a 2-year plan or something like that. What we go through is called a corrective plan. Corrective plans range anywhere between 3 and 9 months, depending on the severity. It's going to get you the majority of the correction you want. Beyond that, you choose any level of maintenance that you'd like to come in to keep it going in that full amount there. But if you look here, if somebody's in really rough shape, let's say they're trying to avoid back surgery, they're just in a major car accident, some people do get adjusted every day in the beginning. Most people start either 3 days a week or twice a week. The goal is to get somebody to once a week and then twice a month as fast as is physically possible. Now you can imagine with the severity in her neck, she started at 3 days, then went to 2, then went to 1. Actually, this is a 2-month x-ray, but in her 6-month x-ray, she went to every other week. So she started to come in half as often. Last thing to mention here, because you can see the difference, but if you would, before I go through that, what do you notice on here as a group, or somebody can just say? There's 3 things really between here and here in that first 2 months that's changed.
It's straighter, it's going to be coming back.
See the difference in just the straightness overall. So no longer reversed.
More space
and the spacing. The 2 areas you should notice the most are here and down here. So of course, this opens up, affects her headaches, her sinuses, her allergies. This opens up, affects neck pain, but also the arthritis that was growing that would have gotten worse every year had she not come in and started to get adjusted. Now Sarah was given her first prescription at 7, just for her allergies. By 17, she was on 4 different medications, sinus and allergy, and then of course the pain and the headaches. But the thing was, even though this is only a 2-month x-ray, a huge portion of her neck pain was gone within 2 weeks. And she felt a lot better very quickly, but instead of waiting for the pain to come back, she kept her regimen, and within 6 weeks her headaches were gone. 6-month mark, no more allergies, still did do a little bit of sinus problems. She said they were the best they've been since she could remember. And her doctor took her off of all 4 of her prescriptions when she went back for her yearly checkup. And if you think about that, from 7 to 17 she gets the ear, she's medicated, she's getting sicker. In 6 months, she's completely different. She's off her meds, she feels great, she's coming in twice a month. And you know, and really to me, it's a completely different quality of life. Now, as I switch here, many of you had x-rays of your low back from the side as well. Low back x-rays look just like this. 45-degree curve, even spacing throughout. The last couple of x-rays I'll show you are from the front. From the front, head has to be level, spine straight, hips are level. That's the normal position. So I have 3 x-rays. The first 2 are of Jamie right here. Can everybody see the curve in her back? You might be surprised to know she didn't come in here because she hurts. She actually didn't come in here for any health issue. She came in here because her mom did. Her mom had the things you think of. She had neck issues. She had some sciatica that she dealt with on and off. And when we went through the x-rays, her husband was with her, and he said, or she actually said about him, he gets headaches. You know, has bad headaches. I'd like to see if he could get an x-ray and maybe get rid of those. He deals with them 3 or 4 times a week. The next person they talked about was actually their oldest daughter. They said, you know, she takes Claritin D 365 days a year, doesn't matter the season. The pollen count's just always congested. And so they both came in, they got x-rays done as well, and the 3 of them started to get adjusted, and everybody was doing great. They were feeling better. But Jane, the youngest child, did not get x-rayed initially because she was 6, right? How many, we all know some 6-year-olds, I mean, very energetic, vibrant, most of them don't have a bunch of health issues, and she didn't have anything to speak of, but a few weeks in, they had what I call the light bulb effect, you know, where they felt, why wait for her to have the things, instead let's see if we can prevent it. And that's when they came in. I took this x-ray. You can obviously see the curve. If you think about it, the only difference between that and dealing with things like so many of her other family members did is just time. The amount of time it takes for this pressure to be there for her to have a health issue. But instead of waiting for her to get sick, instead of waiting for her to have a symptom, she started to come in, she started to get adjusted, and this is her new x-ray. And this took 4 months. So again, medically, no symptoms to no symptoms, but think about who's functional. If you were gonna, I guess, be more to the point, which spine would you rather have? You know, even though she feels fine here and she feels fine here, everybody can see the difference in her overall health and function right there. So as I go to show you the last x-ray, I have to mention a couple things. Now, I know we go through this pretty quick, so I always say if you want to Google this, you can Google and read all about the things that I've gone through, but the easiest way for the couple of research articles is to look them up. Most of them are in Time. This one was off CNN Health, but the republications of medical studies. This first one, it's an innovation issue, so it's from 2014, as you can see there. Time's innovation issue. It showed that in 2013 had the best improvements in medical technology in a long time. Much better heart valve replacements, breast cancer drugs, diabetes drugs, hepatitis C. They think they had a cure for it. But then the next page is, you know, what should we expect for our children? And for the second time in United States history, they've lowered the expected life expectancy for kids. So in 2000, for the first time ever, they changed it. Adults, the current life expectancy is 78. Children, it's expected to be 74. Now that's an estimate, but they're saying that because people are getting sicker younger, they're actually expecting a lower life expectancy. In 2014, they switched that to the age 69, a full 9 years younger, because of health issues, because of more childhood obesity, and basically they said it's just, it doesn't matter how much technology you have, if you're sicker younger, it's going to take years off your life. And so going beyond that, this is about 18 months old now, but it says why medical bills are killing us. It was a special report Time magazine published from 2000 to 2013. The out-of-pocket cost of having health issues is doubled. Now, again, you know, we work with insurance. We work hard to make it work for you, but at the same time, you know, they're saying that, and everybody's seen that, you've all heard the term Obamacare and everything that goes with it. It's being more expensive to have the issue, so reversing it, or, you know, not having to need the meds or whatever it might be, saves you in the long run. In fact, that's what this last study that I'll share with you shows. I pulled it off cnnhealth.com, but it's a Harvard Medical School study. It says medical bills prompt more than 60% of U.S. bankruptcies. In fact, even though we've seen all those different things in the news about job markets, housing markets, you know, that are certainly a reality, 62.4% of all bankruptcies are still medical debt. So everything else combined doesn't equate to if you have a health issue. Over 99% of people said that they never expected it to be them, right? Never thought that their health would spiral to the point where they would be in that situation. But the last thing I'll mention is that for every single dollar you invest in your health, they've shown that you save yourself $5 in medical bills in your lifetime. So if you can reverse it, if you can stop it from even occurring, you might not even know what you prevent, but they're saying, and it's an estimate, it's $5 that you save. It's in fact your best financial investment to make. Here's the last x-ray before we go through yours. Should be the easiest to see. Can everybody see that major curve? It's Trevon. 55-degree curve that you can see. The part where it's cut off, it goes down into a 45-degree scoliosis in his low back. If he was sitting here tonight, you probably wouldn't notice. You can see his collarbones, they're level. A baggy t-shirt or sweatshirt would cover that up. He did not have a symptom until he was 16 years old. At 16, he was fit. He played on his varsity basketball and football teams, lifted weights, and he was in gym class, and he threw a ball, and from here over, just went completely numb, all the way down his arm. He went home, went to immediate care, was sent to an orthopedist. The orthopedist did a series of x-rays, checked his shoulder, said it's not your shoulder, it's your back. And he took x-rays. It took a 38-degree curve here to pinch this enough before he felt it, before he had any physical symptom, to hit that 10%. They sent him to a spine specialist, scheduled him for surgery. He was going to have rods put in his back. And while he was waiting for the surgery, they did their own research. They talked to some people, and they found that while again, rods could be life-saving, they have one of the lowest success rates of all surgeries that people have done. And when they went to one of their appointments before the treatment, they said that he expected his surgery to last about 3 to 5 years before he'd have a revision. And that wasn't okay with him. He ended up canceling it because they wanted to take more time to think about it. While they're thinking about it, while they're delaying it, he had something happen that I've seen happen to a few people that have come in here. He felt better. His numbness went down for a little while, so they just kind of kept putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. The hard part is it took about a year before he really got bad again, or it got worse. And by that point, even though he felt better, it got 17 degrees worse. You know, I think inherently we all get that. If there's a problem there and you know that something's going on, even if the feeling changes a little bit, it's still there and it's still being affected. Now that's not normal. It's not normal to get that much worse in 1 year. But, you know, I show it for 2 reasons. One, he's still getting better. And this is one of the more severe cases we have coming in. He's gotten 3 degrees better in his mid-back, 10 degrees in his low back. He for sure doesn't have to have rods through his full spine, and they're hoping to not have to have any rods or any back surgery at all. But, you know, the other reason, even though he's getting better, the numbness is gone, he's feeling better, and we're trying to prevent that surgery. The other reason I talk about him is because, you know, he's here because of his mom's best friend. Her name was Kathy. She comes in, gets adjusted, and she had known about this, and she'd been encouraging them to come in. And finally, she just said, you know what, just go check it out. You know, don't go back if you don't like it, but just go check it out. And he, you know, there's so many stories of that, but he actually turned to me after one of his adjustments, and he said, you know, I'm thankful to be here, but I'm more thankful for her, that she cared enough about me to take time to tell us about your office, and so that I don't have to have all these surgeries and have all these health problems. So, you know, as we go through your x-rays, it goes pretty quick. It typically takes about 3 to 5 minutes per person to really be able to view your x-rays. So, you know, everybody should be done within about 20, 25 minutes tops here. But when we go through your x-rays tonight, we ask 2 very simple things. Number 1, care about yourself. make your